Hey there, thank you so much for checking out this recording. And in this particular section, we're going to be having a very in-depth training on how you can actually write compelling hooks and advertising headline for your wedding business. This is going to be a very in-depth training. We're going to do some live practical breakdown. We'll pick out some ads and we'll break it down to find out the reasons why those ads actually perform and what actually works best within those ads. We'll also look at some old school ads, that means ads from the 80s, the 90s, and these are ads that have already been proven to perform very well. We'll break those ads down as well and we'll collect some inspirations from those ads. And this is simply because you see the secret to writing irresistible ad has already been perfected nearly 50 years ago. And you see the golden era of advertising wasn't all about flashy headline or slogans, but rather it was all about writing ads so persuasive, so captivating that it will instantly make your readers or your viewers stop, read, and open the booking meeting with you in your wedding business. Now, this weren't just mere words, they were more like psychological triggers actually with bookings and sales explode. So in this particular video, I'm going to show you how you can actually write ads just like that. How you can actually write ad headlines, how you can actually write ads in your landing page, in your meta ads that actually command attention even in today's digital world. So ensure you stick around to the end of this video. And if you find this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel because that helps with the algorithm a whole lot. Alright, so let's move on to the first thing. So what exactly is a headline or a hook, as I like to call it, because this is one mistake I see most persons actually make. So a headline or a hook is actually the first thing that your viewer would actually see first or probably hear first, that will actually make them to want to actually read the rest of your ad or probably see the rest of your ad. So forget about headline in traditional sense. That means, in your Facebook ad where they actually say headline, because in most cases that is not what the viewer or your reader would actually see first. In most cases, usually the text that is the largest in your ad will actually be your image creative itself. That will actually be the first thing that your user would actually see first. So that would be considered as your hook or your headline. And like I said here, the only job of the headline is actually to get the reader to read the next sentence or probably watch the rest of your video, assuming you're actually using a video creative as your hook. So according to Eugene Swart, he actually wrote the famous book in marketing. One thing that he actually stressed about is that, he said the greatest mistake that you can actually make in advertising is assuming that the reader is already interested. So most persons actually just come in assuming that the reader is already interested. They don't take into consideration what they want their headline to actually be, what they want their viewer to actually read first and next up, like how they plan to guide their viewer attention. They don't take any consideration into that. So assuming that the reader is already interested, it's one of the biggest mistakes that you can actually make. So the job of the headline or the hook, like I said, is just to get them to, to pique their interest, to get them interested in your ad or whatever ad you actually putting out there. That's the job of the headline. So let's look at some ad and let's pick out the headline. So from this one here, you can actually see the headline here is actually obvious. Like I said, usually in most cases is the text that's usually the largest that will be considered your headline or your hook, because that is what your viewer eyes would actually rest on first. So this one here, the headline here has become a witch, and that is quite obvious. And we have the sub headline. So why this headline actually piques the user's interest, get them interested in your ad. The sub headline just sort of like satisfy whatever curiosity has been piqued by the headline. So as you can see here, this one, Academy of Mystic Art invites you to a, that in this case is actually the headline. And you can see this one here, Wife Savers, is actually the headline. So with this first ad here, as you can see, sorry, I moved too bad. So with this first ad here, as you can see, Become a Witch is actually the headline, and this one is actually, it's curiosity based headline. It makes you curious. You want to actually check out what is inside the ad. And like I said previously, the sub headline just satisfies whatever curiosity has been piqued by the headline. So right here you have Wife Savers. This is the ad by Kentucky Fried Chicken. So this one also is curiosity based headline. And we have this one, say, who would believe I was skinny and lonely a few weeks ago. So this one is actually a story based headline. And we have this one. So with this ad here, you can actually see that the headline are kind of obvious. The headline is actually kind of obvious. So the writers of this ad, they're kind of clear on what they wanted their headline to be, or probably what they wanted their user to actually see first, or how they plan to hook them and guide their attention. So they're kind of clear about that. So one mistake I see most persons actually make when they run ads is that they are not obvious, they're not clear on what they want their headline to be, or what they actually want their readers to actually see first, how they actually plan to grab their attention and guide their attention down the line. So don't get confused. So this is the headline, like I said previously, this is the headline, this is also the headline, and this is the headline here, and this is also the headline, and this is also the headline here. So with this one, as you can see this ad here, the headline is actually obvious. It says your wedding should be as unforgettable as your vow. So obviously that's actually the headline. And with this one here, you can actually see the stunning image of these two couples holding their hands, and that is obviously the headline in that case. So don't get confused. So this is the headline. This here is actually the call to action and not the headline. So your headline is not the way like the meta actually puts it, where they actually says headline. That part is actually a call to action and not your headline. So that part is actually your call to action and not your headline. So let's look at why does the headline actually matters. So the headline is actually the most important part of any ad, landing page, or sales letter. So when it comes to marketing, there's this rule called the 80/20% rule, which says that like 80% of your success comes from things like your creative, your hook, your headline, and the remaining 20% comes from things like your landing page, your setup, and the rest things. Now this is simply because when someone is actually scrolling through Meta online, the first thing that they would actually see first that would actually get them to stop scrolling would probably be your headline or your hook. So if that is actually not strong enough, assume you're actually using an image hook, and if that is actually not strong enough to hook them, they won't even get to see your offer or get to your landing page in the first place. So as you can see right here, she says here, it says the only job of the headline is to get the reader to actually read the next sentence and the next sentence. So according to Eugene Swatch, like I said previously, the guy that actually wrote the famous book in marketing, he said like the greatest mistake that you can actually make in advertising is assuming that the reader is already interested. That would actually be a great mistake. Rather, you have to put into consideration how do you plan to grab this person's attention, how do you plan to get them interested, and that is the job of your headline or your hook, as I like to call it. So let's compare these two ad headline here, and you can tell me which one is actually more compelling, which one is actually more interesting. So the first one here says new wedding package available. Of course, I just wrote these two down, and of course this one is obviously boring and is generic. But the second one here says book your dream wedding photographer in 48 hours. Because this one has more sauce in it, has more more meat, how I call it, and it also says limited weekend dates available. So it's adding a time constraint to it, makes it intriguing, specific, and also problem solving. So let's look at the three basic functions of a headline. So the one function of a headline is actually to capture attention. So people might actually be scrolling through Meta online doing something else. So the job of a headline is actually to stop people in their tracks. So like I said previously, if your headline is actually not strong enough, or if your hook is actually not strong enough to stop people in their tracks, they won't even get to see your offer in the first place, or they won't even get to see your landing page in the first place. So also you want to actually qualify the right audience, you want to actually speak to your ideal customer, and also you want to actually lead to the next sentence. So the goal of the headline isn't to sell yet, you understand, just to get people to actually read the next sentence and the next sentence and the next sentence. Like the example said here, say we have an example here. Let's look at this example here, and later I'll be looking at the full ad, the full editorial. So let's just look at this headline here, and the headline is they laughed when I sat down to play the piano, but when I started to play ... So what this headline actually does is that it creates curiosity and it forces the reader to want to actually continue, to want to actually see the rest of your ad and see what the ad is all about. So let's look at this old school ad here. And as you can see, this one says does she or doesn't she. So this one is actually a curiosity based headline, and we have another old school ad from Rolls-Royce which actually says at 60 miles an hour. I don't know if you can actually see this. The loudest noise in this new Rolls-Royce comes from the electric clock. So this one is, they're just trying to like sell the unique USP of the product at that particular time. So that's obviously the headline there. So let's look at 5 proven headline styles that actually convert. You can actually take note of this. I want to actually bring out your pen and paper and write this down so that the next time when you're actually constructing your ad, the next time when you're actually writing your ad, you can actually ask yourself, am I including this, am I including that? And it can probably help you achieve better results with your ad or probably with your landing page or whatnot. So like I said here, the different headline styles actually work for different market sophistication level. And in one of my videos, I did a video talking about different stages of the funnel. We have at the top of the funnel, we have the cold audience, we have the warm audience, and at the bottom of the funnel, we have the hot audience. So these are persons that are ready to buy now. They're ready to buy now. So the direct based headline styles actually work best with the bottom part of the funnel, while curiosity based headline, fear based headline work best at the top of the funnel. So that's just basically it. So let's look at the first one, which is direct benefit headline. So what this actually does is to focus on what the reader will actually gain, just focus on what the benefit the reader will actually get. So example we have here is book your dream wedding photos, free engagement shoots when you secure your date. So So this one is actually just focused on what the reader will actually gain. Like I said, like the name implies, it's benefits driven. So next we have curiosity based headline. So here you want to actually make people wonder what is actually inside. Like the previous ad read, you want to actually make them wonder what is actually inside, just to use curiosity to get them to actually take action. So a good example here is the dress detail every bride overlooks and regrets. So this particular ad here just has, or this particular headline here has a touch of regret, a touch of fear. Say regret. So let's look at fear-based headline. And here we're actually using negative emotion to grab attention. Actually using negative emotion to push them to actually take a particular action. So a good example here is allergies at a wedding that can actually ruin the night. Choose a caterer who gets it right. So you're actually just using that negative emotion to actually get them to take action. Number 4 on my list, we have authority-driven headline. So here, what we actually want to do is we want to actually use credibility to persuade them to take action. So a good example of this is award-winning photographer capture every emotion beautifully. So that's just, if you have any article to actually back this up, you can actually just throw that in there. And lastly, we have story-based headlines. So here, we want to actually engage them with a narrative. A good example is how one couple turned a backyard into a dream wedding with our help, and you're just pointing back to you. You just want them to actually imagine how their own scenario will look like, and you're pointing everything back to yourself. So let's look at headline type 1. This is a direct benefit headline, like I said. So here, just want to tell the reader what they would actually get. I just want to state the normal benefit they would actually get. And also, if you have more than 2 benefits that you actually trying to sell with your services, you can actually just split test this, or you can actually A/B test them. So we have 3 examples here. Let's look at the first one. It says book your gym wedding photos, free engagement shoots when you secure your date. You just focus on what the reader will actually get. And second, we have make your ceremony unforgettable. Custom flowers actually fit your budget. One thing again is that if this headline can actually handle the biggest objection they can actually get, it makes it even stronger and more captivating. So like with this second one here, they're actually saying that fits your budget. So in case they have concern about their budget, you're already letting them know that this one will actually fit their budget, which I think is a great headline. So lastly, we say find your dress in one appointment, alteration included before the big day. And this one also has that, that contingency plan to handle whatever objection they have. It says alteration included before the big day, which I think is a great headline. So let's look at type 2 headline, which has curiosity-based headline. So you want to actually make people curious so they can actually read more. So we have 3 examples here. The first one here says why couples probably in your city are requesting for this one photo style. You want to actually make them curious, like what photo style they're talking about. So you can actually use it in different places. You can actually use it in your landing page, probably in your blog post, or probably in your ad itself. The second one here, it says the tiny timeline tweak that saves couple plus 10 plus planning hours. You just want to get them curious. And lastly, we have this one, say the dress detail almost every bride overlooks and regrets. I think we have gone over this one previously. So let's look at the type 3 headline, which are fear-based headline. So here, I want to actually tap into negative emotions to create some sort of urgency to get them to take action. You understand? Because it's actually proven that people actually take action faster when they have a fear of losing something. So let's look at the example we have here. So the first one is don't let bad lighting ruin your wedding photos. Book a pro who knows how. And the second one is your wedding venue prepared for rain day backups? Don't risk your ceremony. So this one, you can actually see that they are fear-based, using fear to get them to actually take a certain action. And lastly, we have this one that actually says, don't buy a dress that won't fit. Know these 3 tailoring traps. This can actually be good for a blog post. So let's look at type 4 headline. This is an authority-driven headline. You want to actually come in as an authority in your field. You want to actually use credibility to actually persuade them. So let's look at the example we have here. The first one is experienced wedding planners trusted by dozens of local couples. The second one is historic venue with 5-star reviews. Host your ceremony with confidence. And the last one is designer gowns curated by bridal stylists, tried and recommended. I can see this headline are all just authority-driven headline. And lastly, we have story-based headlines. So you want to actually use a story narrative to actually persuade them to take action. You want to actually use with a relatable story. For example, since you're talking about couples, you want to actually use stories about couples. So let's look at the example we have here. So the first one says how we captured Ima and Coolness sunset vows and made their photo timeless. So just using a story narrative and pointing it back to yourself. The second one here is how one couple turned a backyard into a dream wedding with our help. You get the idea now. And lastly, we have this one that says how we turned a quiet reception into an all-night dance party. This were actually DJs. These are all great. So let's look at this old school ad. I think we actually went through this headline previously. So this is actually the full ad, and let's just break it down and let's just talk about why it actually works. And the headline here is they laughed when I sat down at the piano, but when I started to play dot dot dot. So let's look at why it actually works and what makes it effective. So first of all, it's actually curiosity driven. Now the reader, I moved too fast. First of all, it's actually curiosity driven. The reader won't actually knows what actually happens next, so it forces them to actually read the rest of the ad. And also, it has a subtle fear of missing out, FOMO. What if I never learn a skill that actually impresses people just like this? And lastly, it has proof and testimonial, which actually makes it a very strong headline. So I expect you to actually take note of this down. So when you're actually writing your next ad, probably for your Meta ad or for your Google ad, you can actually just ask yourself, am I including this? Is there any way I can actually include this? So that's that I said it has a proof and testimonial. It provides evidence of success through real student experience. So as I say, this ad is actually packed, it's curiosity based, has a subtle fear of missing out, and also has proof and testimonial. That makes it sort of a great headline. Let's look at this one actually put out online. So this one actually says, Mary and Corey's wedding story. It's actually a video ad. It's a video creative that couples can actually come in and watch. So why it actually works, this one is actually, it triggers people's interest. We want to actually see how their own day would actually look like, and this is actually a story-based narrative. Understand? And it also has a subtle selling. Lastly, it says instead of book your section, it invites you to actually watch and feel the storytelling, all pointing back to yourself, probably assuming you're a wedding photographer. And let's look at this third ad here. This is award-winning photographer. This one is actually using authority base. So in your own case, if you have any article or any stuff to actually back this up, you can actually just throw it in there. It gives you more authority, and you're actually using authority to actually persuade. And couples actually drawn to emotional imagery, and this ad actually verbally reinforces that promise. This image here just reinforces that promise that okay, this is actually an award-winning photographer, and you can actually deliver on the job. And lastly, the phrase here says, this is an old school ad. Also, it's an old ad. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So this is actually a video ad, and this one has a touch of curiosity and transformation. As you can see from the video here, it has this text written on it. Wait for it. So it forces you to want to actually know what will actually happen next. So let's just break this video creative ad down. I like using video creative, and I advise you to actually do the same because it allows the couple to actually experience your style and feel your style before even booking a meeting with you in your wedding business. So this one actually uses curiosity. So the phrase "wait for it" at the top of the acts like a curiosity trigger that interrupts their scrolling pattern and makes viewers want to actually expect something exciting about to happen. It also has this anticipation also added to it. Viewers expect something special to actually happen. And it also has this transformation moment. So the moment the bride actually turns, the moment the lady here, actually turns to a bride, it adds this powerful emotional payoff as well. So let's just play the ad and just watch the video. You can see. So putting it all together, so what I actually wanted to do is to write one headline for each of the principles that have been listed previously. Just go down and write one ad that you can actually use in your own case, assuming you're a wedding florist or you're a wedding photographer. Just take this down and put it into consideration. So next time when you're actually writing your own ad, you can actually ask yourself, am I including this? Am I including that? This will actually help you achieve better results when it comes to your ad. So that's it. If you actually find this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel because that helps a lot. Understand? Alright, so that's it for now. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Thank you.